I was deeply moved by so many things at the Democratic National Convention. Well, one of the things that really touched me was the tribute to Reverend Jesse Jackson. He ran for president in 1980 and in 1984. And he was the first major candidate of any political party to actually include gay and lesbian rights as part of the party platform. We didn't have the whole alphabet back then. And I remember all of us just waiting to see, was he going to say that word lesbian? And he did. I was so struck by how throughout the entire convention, there was just this unwavering support on behalf of people in the party for the LGBT community, as it was for immigrants, as it was for reproductive rights. This was just music to my soul, because that was not the world that I grew up in. So this August is the 40-year anniversary of a lawsuit that I was in the state of California. It was a discrimination suit, and it set precedent for the inclusion of sexual orientation into California's civil rights bill. It was one of the very first of its kind, this idea that the LGBT community should, in fact, have rights like everybody else. This became the precursor to so many things, including marriage equality. So while that lawsuit was going on, the year before we won, my former partner and I had a ceremony, a marriage kind of ceremony. It wasn't legal then, but it was a statement of the fact that it ought to be. It took another 25 years before I could have a legal marriage in the state of California in 2008. But let me tell you something about Kamala Harris. We keep hearing how she's Kamala Harris for the people. We keep hearing about how she prosecutes and how she's always standing up for the rule of law. Well, one of the things that I am so proud of with Kamala Harris is when she was willing to break the law. So before marriage equality became legal in the state of California in 2008, on Valentine's Day, 4 years before that, 20 years after I had my own ceremony, she started officiating them as the district attorney of the city of San Francisco. She, the governor, Jerry Brown, all of the people at the top decided that it was time for this issue. And they started ordering marriage licenses to be given to same-sex couples. And it really pushed the issue so that these couples who had gotten married, even though it technically wasn't legal, they had some standing to bring forth a lawsuit, which they did. And in 2008, 4 years after she started this, the California Supreme Court decided that, yes, in fact, we should have the equality. And I felt so immensely proud to have been a part of that history. But it was really short-lived. Okay? As soon as the California Supreme Court said that, yes, in fact, couples could marry, we started getting married in May. But this was an election year. And in November, the state of California passed Proposition 8. Proposition 8 amended the state's constitution, took away the rights, and said that marriage had to be defined as between a man and a woman. So those 18,000 couples who had gotten married in that little window, like I had, our marriages were up in the air. It was finally decided that we could be legal, but there could be no more. So it took another 5 years of these battles going back and forth for this Proposition 8 to make it all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. And Kamala came through again. By now, she is the Attorney General of the state of California. And you know what she did? She refused to represent the state of California in Proposition 8. Can you imagine that? The Attorney General saying, no, this law is bad. This law is unjust. And even though it's our law as the state, we're not even going to defend this. That's some badass stuff right there. There's something that a lot of people really aren't aware of, and that is that marriage equality is up again in the state of California. This Proposition 8 that changed the state's constitution to say marriage is only between a man and a woman, it's on the ballot. It's on the ballot. We're not getting a lot of publicity about this. It's on the ballot as Proposition 3. And what Proposition 3 does is it overturns Proposition 8. Okay? This may sound confusing, but listen to me as I make the analogy here. You know, we saw what happened when the Dobbs decision overturned Roe v. Wade. What happened is that everything got sent back to the states. And many of the states had anti-abortion laws on the books. So that the moment that the federal protection got lifted, then all of these bans that were already on the books immediately came into play. This is the same situation that we find ourselves in around marriage equality. Project 2025, the conservatives on the Supreme Court, they want marriage equality gone. Trust me, there's going to be another case, and they're going to do to marriage equality the same thing they did in the Dobbs decision. And what would end up happening then is, as it goes back to the states, then whatever it is that's on the books in the states is what will be the law of the land. Okay? So this same battle that we're doing around reproductive choice, we're going to have to be doing the same thing around marriage equality and who knows how many other rights. So particularly if you are in the state of California, pay attention. Prop 3, marriage equality is on the ballot. Vote yes. California is being proactive, okay, with the anticipation that this is the way that the Supreme Court is going to move. It's being proactive. And whatever state that you're in, I'm going to encourage you to be proactive. We've already seen what happens with reproductive choice. Let's get ahead of this. And thank you to Kamala Harris for doing the right thing.